Hey guys, so we're here for our first ever paranormal vlog series. So I have got an amazing lady who has agreed to come online with me and do this with me. I'm really excited. So I'm going to introduce you to, drumroll please, Erin. Yay!
Hi.
Hey, darling. All right. So let's hear a little bit about you. So how we met, I think it was through the Rhythm Hut and something to
Yeah.
do with singing and music and stuff. So how do you remember us meeting? I'm interested.
Well, it's interesting actually that you say that because I was thinking about it and like I knew who you were a long time before I met you
Okay.
because when I first came to the Rhythm Hut, I was running a choir and like I stopped and I think like it was a few years of a gap between when I was running it and when you joined the hut or you came to the hut and started running your choir. And I got a little bit like jealous, like, oh, well, I guess they found someone else. Yes.
Whereas I didn't know any history. I just thought I saw you and I was like, oh my God, she looks so cool. Like you just looked so at home. And I was like, I need to be friends. And then I'm so
Yeah.
social, like awkward sometimes. I'm just like, I never know how to like approach people for the first time. Sometimes I'm just like a big
Really?
puppy and I rush in there, but then I can never remember names. So I'm always like,
Yeah.
hello. Like I feel
I know.
terrible.
It's like, hey, champ, how's
And I'm
it
like,
going?
I'll remember everything about you, like where you from, how we met, what we did, but names, oh my God. Facebook has helped so much in that way
Yeah.
because I don't know if you're like this, but I'm visual. So if I
Yeah,
meet
me
someone,
too.
I immediately see their profile picture and their name, and I'm like, thank you, brain, because I don't
Yeah.
remember auditory stuff like at all. So yeah.
I don't
No,
either.
so
That's why I have to keep notes for everything because I just don't remember anything someone tells me.
everything is in my calendar, written down in full. Like when people phone me for something and then they're going to phone me back, I don't just save their name. I save their name in like a whole story, like context. So the next time they phone me, I'm like, oh yes, hello, as if I totally remember the last
Yes,
time we
I
spoke.
remember you and your name.
Fully remember. Garbage collecting man, so good. How's your
I
dog?
have so many mums saved in my phone. Bonnie's mom, Jade.
Yes. I
I
do
don't
it the other
remember
way. So
mom's
I'll have
name.
Melissa, and then as their company name, Kelsey's friend thingy. So like the name comes up as Melissa, Kelsey's friend, and I'm like, oh my God, all right. That's so
That's so
hard to like
helpful.
maintain. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
hectic. Okay, so we are going to be going through the paranormal alphabet. So we've got a pretty cool website that we found that has the A to Z of the paranormal. So I thought it would be really cool if we just work our way through the alphabet and then sort of see how we go and see how many crossovers there are. And we'll kind of be talking about every single kind of paranormal thing you could think of. Some of it may be pseudoscience, some of it's cryptozoology, some of it is just absolute utter bull, but it's in the dictionary, so we will talk about it. We aren't going to talk about every single letter A or every single letter B because
Okay.
we'd be here for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I've kind of looked and seen ones that I have a personal story to tell with. So, and that kind of narrows it down to just a couple every time so that we don't just, have a series that's 40 seasons long or whatever it is. Is that how it goes? Seasons or it's
40
episodes?
episodes, I think.
I just embarrassed myself. My son is probably laughing at me right now. 40 seasons
Look,
long.
we can make up our own rules. I mean,
Language
each
is a thing.
episode. Yeah, it's true.
I just say
Especially English.
What are words? What is
Just sounds.
It just sounds. My son's gonna message me now, like, Mom, stop.
You're so embarrassing. Did he?
There he is there on the screen. He just waved now. Hey, Luca. Yeah, you got called out, boy. All right, so we're going to add this to our screen now. So this is from a cool website called paraNORMALity. Highly recommend. It seems to be a pretty cool sort of broad info space for anything to do with the paranormal. So all of our info will be coming from this website specifically, just because it's a good place to sort of jump off from, and then we'll watch YouTube videos and react to those during the episode as well. So we're talking today about afterlife. So afterlife is also known as life after death. If you are watching, even if you're watching later on today or tomorrow or the next day, comment down below if you have had a after death experience, a leaving your body, knowing that you've passed, looking down and then coming back. I'd love to hear from you. I know Erin would also love to hear your stories.
That's wild.
Erin and I will be on the comment section over the next couple of days as things pop up. We can chat and connect with you guys. But yeah, let's just have a look through here. So it says that the question of life and death has puzzled mankind since the dawn of time. So I'm just having a look. So a lot of people seem to say that they have already experienced their souls leaving their bodies, all right? And a lot of times it seems to be connected to heart attacks. So, because the brain stays alive after the heart has stopped, and then they manage to start the heart again. And those people have had these amazing experiences. So now I know a lot of people are afraid of death. What is your view of death?
Well, it's interesting. I think like my relationship with the idea and the concept of dying changes how I can gauge my mental well-being. Because if I'm feeling really mentally healthy, I'm like, great, like I'm okay to die. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if I'm feeling really like I'm not happy with my life or where I'm at, then I feel like, okay, well, I wouldn't want to die now because I haven't sorted this out, or I haven't like I don't have a good relationship with this person right now. I need to sort that out.
Yeah. And I mean, that's pretty deep. That's a pretty good and accurate description of how it is for a lot of us, I think. I remember I was mentioned in my coming out video that I used to be quite religious and part of like fundamental Christian sort of situations. And so I had a real fear of death. Like I was scared. I had no matter how hard I tried, no matter how much I prayed, I never felt that I would earn heaven or something. And I remember pulling off an airplanes was always particularly like a deep and scary moment for me. I would sort of quickly pray and just really feel afraid of death. And when I kind of walked away from the church as such and sort of walked more into my sort of ancestral religious heathen kind of vibes, I just wasn't afraid of death anymore. I sort of like, fuck yes, I'll wake up in Helheim and there'll be Hela giving me a glass of beer, it's going to be great. And I didn't realize how much it had like hit home, this like Nordic vibe really laid in my heart until I was in an airplane. And in the airplane, I got so excited and I was like, oh, we're going to take off now. We're going to go so fast. We're going to like, oh, we're going to. And I wasn't afraid. I did not even think about death. And as I pulled off, it was suddenly like, what if you crash? And I went, I don't really mind. My kids will be fine and I'll be fine. I'll see them again. And it was just such a relief. So my whole view has changed, but I get you have unfinished business.
And I think that's where like you do kind of run into this whole like fear-based thinking thing, like Christianity, as much as there is like the promise of heaven, it's very conditional, and that's not it's still fear-based, because it's punitive, and it's like, okay, if you do this wrong thing, as like I watched your coming out video, and like they were saying, oh, if you live life as a homosexual, then you'll go to hell. It's like, well, that's bullshit, I think. Sorry, are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's like beautiful. Just ridiculous. And like I was raised in the church as well, and I just remember having this moment of being like I feel like there's a real like weirdness around this fact of like, you have to only worship me and you can't look at anybody else. It's almost like a possessive boyfriend.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know this isn't a religious episode, but it's like,
but
it's
look,
kind of like
plays a role in the way you view death. So
it does.
And I would love to hear from other religions. How do Hindu people view death? How do Buddhists view death? I don't think Buddhism is like a religion, is it? I think it's more of a philosophy and a way of life. But if you're Baha'i faith, if you're Jewish, if you are Muslim, well, how do you view death? What is, if even Jehovah's Witness? I know there's a lot of fear around that. I know there's the 144,000. how do you view death? How do you go to bed at night? Imagine it, we aren't promised tomorrow. I tell my kids all the time, you're never promised tomorrow. You are always 3 minutes from death. You just have to stop breathing. In 3 minutes, you're gone. You just have to live your life and do the best you can at all times. And don't be afraid. So
and don't wait.
I like to hear.
Yeah, and it's like when I was a kid, did you ever do that prayer? I pray to God my soul to keep, and if I die, before I wake. Yeah, I pray Lord my soul to take. And I just remember, like, when I was old enough to really understand those words, I was terrified. I was like, do I even want to say this? Like, am I bringing upon my own death by saying this out loud? And where is the Lord going to take my soul? I don't know.
The thing is, I have quite a history with that song. So that song, like, it's so weird that you mention it, because of all the songs in the world, that is like a hectic song. So that song, the lyrics used to make me creeped out.
Yeah,
so I
too.
was a songwriter. So I composed a classical piece around those lyrics, but all in the minor keys and really kind of Tim Burton. Like,
I love that.
Like the Hocus Pocus, the Blonde Witch. Like, I always imagine Sarah Jessica Parker singing it on a broom. Like, so cool that you mentioned it, because totally. So, and then, I mean, you've got the Nordic culture that believed that as you fell in battle, the Valkyrie would come in and lift you up and take you to Valhalla, which is where people go who would die in battle. Not everybody goes there, and in the beliefs. And so the idea of being taken away was actually something that was looked forward to.
And that's why they ran into battle.
But you'll wake in the arms of a Valkyrie. And so they weren't afraid to die. And they were fucking high on shrooms, guys. Let's just be honest. They used to.
Is that how they went berserker?
Oh, fuck yes. They used to put shrooms in like yak milk and stuff or whatever. I don't know.
Let's get into it. I mean, if you're going to go into it anyways, you might as well be high.
I'm going to be high as fuck. If I'm going into battle and you expect me to get things pushed through my skin and into internal organs, you better give me some psychedelics, okay?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I feel like that makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly. So now, interestingly, right, you would think that people who've had a past life experience would be afraid. But look at what the people said they felt. Look at that. Feeling of calm, contentment, floating above the body, seeing doctors working on the body. That's amazing. So,
do you think that relates? Because that's the whole DMT is what gets released in your body at the time of death, and it like calms you down and makes you like really trippy. Apparently, I haven't experienced that.
Well, I've had a near-death experience. And it was pretty surreal, pretty intense. I'll tell you about it now. So I mean, there are people that say, DMT in the brain or whatever, but in that case, isn't it when the brain is deprived of oxygen and starts to die? If you've had a heart attack and they're still working on you, the blood is still circulating because they'll be doing compressions. So the brain hasn't started to die. Otherwise, there would be brain damage to some degree, surely. Not that I'm a doctor, but anyway. So
you could speculate wildly.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I will put the link to this page in the comments. I'm going to just, I've just taken that off the page. So have you ever had any, past afterlife experiences? Have you died and come back?
I haven't. And I don't know, but I was there when my dad died 10 years ago. So my whole family was there. And it was super, super powerful, to just be there at the, watch someone's last breath. Thank you. Yeah. And, just watch you just see the difference between their spirit being there and then not being there. And, I have really, really, I've got quite intuitive and strong beliefs around what I think happens after death. Yeah. And, they're not remotely related to my Christian upbringing. It's more about the cycles of nature and have you read Journey of the Soul?
No.
So Journey of the Soul is a book where they talk about soul families and it's like this guy did hypnotherapy, past life regression
I'm going to be
hypnotherapy.
reading it. I've got it in my because
Oh,
I'm
it's
doing my
amazing.
own hypnotherapy, so I've got it in
Yeah.
my books. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an incredible book, and it really kind of touched me and made me go, yes, that's really truly what I believe. At the core of my belief is that, like, we're here to learn, we're here to experience the physical life, and then take that back to our spirit and, increase our knowledge.
Yeah.
And I also had a reading 2 years before my daughter was born, and she said to me, "Your daughter's waiting to be born. She's hanging around." Yeah. And she said, "I see the letter A," and we already had the name Arcadia picked out. Wow. And so we always knew, like, we were going to have a daughter. There was no question, because we just knew, like, she's around.
Just timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that, and then that will go into when we reach the R's and reincarnation and stuff like that. That's going to be so fascinating. When I fell pregnant with my oldest, with Luca, I went with my husband at the time, and we went to go visit my music teacher, who was quite a spiritual person, but like a medium psychic person. And as we arrived, I didn't have a session with him. We just arrived on the odd chance he'd be home. We rang the doorbell, went up in the elevator, and walked into his apartment, and he just started like jumping up and down, and he said, "I know why you're here. I had a dream about you this morning." And he ran to his room and got his little book, and he ran back and he said, "I'm going to read it to you. You are going to have a baby. You're telling me that you're pregnant." And he's like, "Look, it said that you're going to come and see me today." And I was like, whoa. So weird.
Wow.
It said them like when the baby would be born and everything, what month, and it was pretty amazing. So
that's
incredible. I mean, my son Luca was meant to be like, that's incredible. So my after death experience, I've never ever shared this online. So this is the first time I'm ever really telling anyone, and I have a blocked nose for some unknown reason. So beautiful. So okay. So I have a lot of food allergies and a lot of very serious reactions to food and chemicals and preservatives. And I had been very stressed out. I produced a full musical called Of Mice and Mozart, and it was a full play with a choir of about 80 children, all that I dressed as mice and did their ears and noses and tails. And then it was all Mozart songs, and I had a cast, and I did all the costumes myself. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Private school, and they had not assigned any staff to help me, so I'd done everything myself. I was really, really run down by the night of the show. And after the show, they celebrated by giving me 2 shots of Nachtmusik, which is a chocolate liqueur. And I didn't realize that it was full of sulfur, and sulfur will kill me. It shuts down my organs. It's really serious. And within 12 hours, my jaw didn't work. I couldn't walk. All my joints stopped. So everything was stiff. So I had like claw hands and my arms were bent. And I basically was just lying in my bed on my side, and I couldn't digest food. Everything I ate just went right through me. I couldn't get up to get to the toilet. I couldn't shower. I couldn't do anything. My husband thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. What happens is it crosses the blood-brain barrier, so I get hallucinations that there are creatures jumping around the house, and things are trying to kill me. I can't breathe. I think everyone's trying to murder me, and so it just shuts me down, like major issues. And my husband, I think it was a Sunday afternoon, he just thought, oh my God, Sandy's dying. Like I had given up. Like he said my eyes were dull, and I just gave up. I was in so much pain that in my head I was just going, please just let me die. Please just let me die. And I couldn't speak, and I was just, please just let me die. Please let me die. Jeez. And I gave up. I didn't want to be around. It was too painful. And he then left, and I didn't know where he'd gone. And I didn't realize he had just run out the house and got in the car and drove up like 20 minutes up the road to go get the pastors of the church that we attended, because he was just so scared. He thought I was going to die. And they were meant to go out to a dinner after the service, and they said, no, we'll come now. We'll leave. They left the whole church. They just left everyone in their seats and jumped in the car and rode down to see if they could help in some way. And they thought praying would help, so it's cool. In the meantime, they all climbed on the bed with me, so I was lying on my side, and the pastors were literally in the bed with me, holding me. My husband was holding me, and he was crying, and I passed away. I went, and I remember being up near the vaulted ceilings of the building and just looking down, because our house looked like a church. It was really beautiful. It was a little small apartment with this big vaulted ceiling with glass all the way down. It was really stunning.
Wow.
And I went right up to the top of the peak, and I looked down, and it looked like I was looking at sort of a movie. And there was the bed with all the sheets crumpled and me lying like a baby. And then these three adults just over me, tending to me, and my husband crying. And I went, wow, that's it. I'm dead. This isn't bad at all. Like, I feel amazing. And I felt
Yeah.
so light, and I felt so good. And then I just looked at myself, and then I was like, you know what? I have stuff to do. I came to this life to learn something, and I haven't learned it yet. And I made the conscious choice to go back into my body. And it was like with regret. And I went down lower, lower, lower. And I felt myself being pulled like light and gold light into my body, and woke up in absolute agony. And they said that I had stopped breathing just for that like fraction of time, like one or two breaths. And in that time, that's when I left my body and made the decision to live or die. And
Whoa.
I have been through a lot of pain, physical pain, and I've just gone, you know what? I made that choice. I'm here to learn, and I'm here for a reason. And I've never told anyone that story.
That's huge.
Yeah, it
That
changed
is
my life.
so intense. Wow. Yeah, of course. Because
Yeah.
you're literally like, because I mean, when you're born, I suppose you do make that choice to be born, depending on what you believe. But like to make that choice again,
Yeah,
is crazy.
and I was here to learn a lesson. So, and
Yeah.
I'm learning that lesson. And when I was in labor with my babies, both times, so I had unmedicated labor. It was natural labor. I felt everything. I connected with the pain. I really experienced the whole process. And that's part of why I'm here this time, is to learn about motherhood and being a mother. I don't believe I've ever been female in any of my lives. This is the first time, and it's to be the mother. So yeah, that was my reason. And I remember I'd always loved my little baby and played with them, and they played, but I'd never felt that they were really there. And in labor, I had my eyes closed, and it was very spiritual for me. So with my son's labor, it was so spiritual that there was the sound of singing in the room, and no one was singing. When Luca got born, the nurse and the doctor both started crying their eyes out. The gynecologist climbed into the bed with me and held me and kissed me all over my face and said that she'd never known a birth like that in her whole time of being a doctor. The nurse just kept saying, this baby's blessed, this baby. There was something on in the room. It was a heavy, beautiful energy in the room. And when I had my eyes closed, I didn't care about the pain. I just wanted my baby. And my doula said that while I was in labor, she almost felt like she was wasting her time being there, because I was being coached by another voice. So a spirit voice would say, Sandy, sleep. And then I would just fall asleep. And then this voice would say, wake up. Your contraction will be 5 seconds. Count to 5 with me. And then I would count in my head with this voice, 3, 4, 5. Then it would say, now sleep. And I would fall asleep again. So I got coached through the last part of my labor by an entity, not in the room.
That is so cool.
But they could see me talking to it and responding to its instructions. And I had my baby in less than 4 hours. Just phenomenal. And I felt my baby's spirit come from was this side, almost like a gold warm light came down with my eyes closed, settled on my belly, and I heard the words, I'm here, both times. So I felt my child's spirit come into my body and join the body to be born.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal.
That is so cool.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Goodness. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is so, I say crazy, but like, you know what I mean? Really cool.
I'm just like, whoa. So both of my kids, I knew them before. There's a definite history. And I've been able to identify the relationship we had and the relationship we have now. And it's been quite an amazing journey. But yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that when we get to
reincarnation.
It's gonna be so cool.
That's what I'm so interested in that. I was gonna say something too about, oh no, I've lost it. It's gone. I
I
had
hate it.
something. Oh,
I hate it.
it must not have been important.
Yeah, it'll come to you. So can we watch the documentary just quickly? So
Yeah.
it's going to be about 2.5, 3 minutes, guys. It's called The Veil, and it is a documentary about Raymond A. Moody Jr. He's a MD. He's an old guy, but I've sped it up a little bit so that his speech is as quick as ours because he talks real slow. So the music will sound a little bit like hurdy-gurdy, but if you just really listen and hear what he has to say, it's pretty phenomenal, and then we can discuss that after. All right, so I'm just going to go full screen now.
Death is a transformation of consciousness from this physical domain, which is by and large illusory, to another dimension of existence that is apparently so far beyond what we experience here in the physical realm that we can't even describe it in earthly terms. In the earlier years of my study of this, I didn't really try to imagine so much what the afterlife is like, because what people told me anyway is there are no words for it, right? Plus, I just didn't know what I was dealing with. I knew that it wasn't oxygen deprivation to the brain, both on philosophical grounds and also on the grounds that standing there at the bedside had near-death experiences too. But I just didn't know. And I think I first had to kind of wake up to the realization that there's an afterlife before I could then start thinking about the nature of the afterlife. I had a friend who was a fundamentalist minister in Georgia who was raised in a very strict fundamentalist church. And he was absolutely convinced that only members of his church were going to heaven and everybody else would go to hell. And on the way to church one morning, he had a wreck in which it's amazing that he survived. But he had this experience of seeing everything he had ever done. He said, what God was interested in was how I had learned to love. People who come back from a near-death experience will say that this being of light that they meet, who sort of helps guide them through their life review, you can't even come up with the words to describe what this love of this being is like. That we have to use the word love because that's the closest we have on the earth to describe it, but that it's so far beyond anything that we experience as love while we're here that words fail us when we're trying to describe it. People often go into these experiences thinking that it's going to be one of judgment, that there's that God has been keeping a book with all your making marks against you for various kinds of infirmities or muffs in life. And so they go into this with the attitude that they're going to be judged. But what they come out seeing pretty quickly in this life review, that it's not a matter of judgment. It's a matter of how have you learned? What did you learn from this? And how have you learned to love? And people say that in this situation, you can see that the answer is obvious because you're surrounded by a panorama of every single thing you've ever done. And this being sees it completely. And yet, whatever is in that panorama, this being loves you completely. After this, people are inspired to try to be good and loving to others. Still within the framework of human failings, that it's still difficult, but at least that vision of the importance of love inspires them to get busy to try to bring it into everyday reality.
We were muted there.
Yeah, weird. Yeah. I think because I was going,
Yeah, I did a fantastic appearance as a potato yesterday or the day before to talk about mental health, and then realized I was muted for like a whole minute. So I was just like this potato just randomly. I've decided, because I got messages from people saying that, oh, the potato helped me. I was really having a bad day and I was like so depressed. The potato made me happy. So I'm like, yay. So I've chosen a whole heap of these really random things that I'm going to be. Like there's a piece of toast and there's a French fry. So I'm going to pop on randomly and do mental health like awareness PSAs as
different types of potato.
Different types of vegetable. Who knows?
Asparagus would be cute.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. If I can come on and make a fool of myself and someone feels like their life has value, then so be it.
Yeah, whatever it
All right.
takes.
Yeah. So I mean that's interesting. So I like the idea of having your life reviewed with a being that is just pouring love onto you. Like that must be quite a thing. Like not to be judged, but to just look at your life and feel heard and feel seen. Must be quite a
Yeah.
feeling.
I feel like it's kind of, and this is still from Journey of the Soul, that book. It reminds me of what a lot of people said in that they experience kind of like a cleansing, like cleansing love shower almost, like when they are greeted in the spirit world, and it's like accompanied by that reviewing, because like there's so much heaviness, and I guess heaviness is really the word that accompanies being physical and being on Earth or wherever. I'm sure that there's entities on other planets, which we're not going to get to today.
Yeah.
But wherever you've been, if it's physical, it's going to be like just there's human nature is heavy compared to spiritual nature.
It is. And we live with so much baggage. Like obviously now I'm doing my diploma in clinical hypnotherapy. So I'm learning so much. Just realizing that how much we just live through the filter of our past experiences, and not only our past experiences now, but our past experiences throughout all the lives that we have lived. And I've now in the position to have seen enough evidence that past lives are very real, very real. It's just phenomenal. And I've had the joy of doing 2 regressions myself and seeing past lives. And both times those regressions changed something massively in me, released a huge part of me every time. It's almost as if I colored in that little bit more, where before it was just sort of sepia tones. And I can't wait to do that more and help people, do that with people and see them just unlock themselves.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal thing to be able to experience in your lifetime. To be able to look, see where you've been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I said it in your paranormal group on Facebook, but I used to go up to the Harmony Center quite a bit, and they do like training for energetic healers there. And they do like a training workshop, and people can come and just do a donation and get an energetic healing. Wow. And so one time I did that, and a past life came up where I had actually committed suicide. Wow. And and I saw this like vortex almost that I went into, this like kind of black and white vortex. And and then afterwards I was having dreams and all this, like kind of working through all of that. And I still can see very visually the house that I haunted. Wow. After that, like it's a little house next to a lake. And I dream about that house all the time.
Wow. And the thing is that veil that he mentions, that is that vortex that you see. And that is the place that I see. It's the in-between. Yeah. It's the in-between. It's I can't explain it any better than that, but absolutely phenomenal. I love that you are so cool and so into this stuff. I think it is brilliant. And I'm gonna be a bit sexist here and just say I'm so glad that I have amazing strong women in my life that I can have these sort of shows with, and really we can pick each other's brains and share our experiences. I am just so blessed. Thank you so much.
Me too. I feel really excited. I was so excited that you wanted me to be part of this, because like my husband is one of my, like we have the same spiritual beliefs, so very similar. And then I'm also quite close with Josh, who's also, as quite spiritual. So just connecting that, like, with other women who, like, I mean, do you identify as female? No, you don't, do you?
I'm like, I said I'm kind of like a Boy George. So I'm not a drag queen in a woman's body.
So as I said that, I was like, that's not right. No, sorry.
It's weird. I identify as gender fluid, to be honest, because I love the word spectrum, because it's like a sliding scale of like rainbow colors. some days I'm a little bit more mask, some days I'm like all girly, and then so I just let myself be. I'm loving it. I'm just embracing it. But my pronouns are still she. I don't mind.
Okay.
It's in the end, for me personally, the body is not what defines me. I am spirit.
Yeah.
So people can call me Rob says he'll be a cucumber. People could call me anything. Cucumber. I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm being spoken to with love and kindness, I don't mind what pronouns are used at all. Like, it doesn't really, it's sort
That's
of
really
not in my head as something I need to be really focusing on. I want to be focusing on like this kind of stuff, bringing awareness, gender equality awareness, mental health awareness, paranormal awareness, living your life, living your truth. I'm really doing it now. Like, whatever I'm walking in, I'm just saying, come on, guys, walk with me. Let's do it.
It's super inspirational.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Yeah, I'm stoked. And I know we're going to have so much fun. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Stories and just learn some new stuff. And some people might say, oh, you only use one source. It doesn't matter. It's just the beginning. This show is more like a springboard to further conversations.
Yeah.
So if this little us just chatting inspires you enough to kind of look up afterlives, we've done our job. I'm happy. That's it.
Yeah.
If it's got you talking, thinking, even if you're on the loo, because I know you're scrolling past on the toilet. Okay, I know you are. Scroll on, you disgusting, dirty person. I never go on the phone in the toilet.
Me neither. It's gross.
Yeah, no. My phone smells like poo right now, but it's for different reasons. Okay.
And your hands.
Gardening, just show. I even have garden stuff under my drink bottle. I don't know if you can.
I see. It's a dirty drink bottle.
It's poo drink bottle.
Dirty.
Sanitize this whole area now. But I'm heading back out to the garden now to do some more potting, and then I've got some other stuff to do this afternoon, and then we're cleaning the house because we have our inspection next week.
So do we. We have one on Monday.
I hate it. So now I'm obsessing. So I'm getting a bucket and a cloth and foam, and I'm just going to clean every surface area.
That's super satisfying, and it feels really good energetically once you do that as well.
I got to do my first spackle today. I filled a hole in the wall that my child created after ramming her skateboard into the passage wall. So I got to use like the grid and the whole. I was so excited. I was really handy. I felt like I needed a tool belt.
Yeah.
Buy a tool belt just because I spackled one hole, Maybe I can.
A future spackle.
For future spackling.
And then you can just start building things.
Got to be ready.
You'll have a whole new identity once you have that tool belt.
So now we've just had a quick question here from Rob Greaves. He's over in South Africa, so he's up late watching this with us.
Thanks for
I have
watching.
a question I'm earnestly seeking guidance or opinion on. I'm fascinated by the pre and afterlife. How can I tap into that realm of understanding it further, please? So that's a good question, Rob.
I mean, like I've mentioned before, I found like kind of reading stuff, like other people's experiences, and not so much that, like, I'm not great at reading just the dry, like, self-help or spiritual books. I like to read from people's experience. Like Way of the Peaceful Warrior really helped me a lot as well.
I'm going to type that in, okay, so that Rob can see that. So books. Can you just name those two books you just said? So Way of the Peaceful
Warrior.
Yeah.
And Journey of the Soul.
Do you know who wrote them?
Way of the Peaceful Warrior is by Dan Millman. And there's a whole series there, actually. It's like 3 books. And the end is the one that the end of that book especially relates to the afterlife. But I can't remember who wrote the other book. I can look it up.
I'm looking as well. Journey of the Soul. Is it Michael Newton? Journey of the Soul's Case Studies of Life Between Lives?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Michael Newton, PhD.
Okay.
That's how you know it's good. PhD.
One day I'll write a book. Another book.
Another book.
Another one. All right, so I'm just going to put that up on the screen as well. So if you guys want to write that down, you can do that now. hopefully that'll help you, Rob. That's the best way to do it. Like, I think also just going down the rabbit hole on YouTube, make sure you set your data to 144 so that you don't use too much of your data. I know in South Africa, not a lot of places, some have Wi-Fi, some people use data. Just make sure you always knock that resolution down from 360 to 144. It'll make it a lot cheaper to watch on YouTube. Or whenever you go somewhere with free Wi-Fi, just have your list of videos you want to download them all, and then at home you can watch them without using any Wi-Fi or data. So yeah, all right, guys. So thank you so much. Thank you, Erin. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. It'll be after the holidays. Yeah, I think that's what we've got.
Are we doing one next week?
Are we doing one next week?
I think so.
I don't know. Okay, I'm having a look here. 28th of September. Yes.
Yeah, that's Monday.
One. Oh, we're doing aliens.
I'm so excited about aliens.
So it'll be half an hour earlier than it was today. I'm way too excited about aliens because I have stories as well.
I'm really excited about cryptids. That's what I'm starting to get into.
Ooh, and I love cryptozoology. But I have an alien implant story.
Whoa.
That I've never told anyone either. So I wish I had my x-rays to show you if they're in South Africa. Damn it. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.